Hello everyone. So we are live again today. I am Sheetal Mule Pichawala here, founder of Big Bash Sports League, and we are live on Big Bash Sports and Growing Buddy hand in hand. Today is a very special session, a session where it's a career oriented, a career in sports. So expand your horizon, explore the field of sports career with Mr. Asslam Shaikh. He is an award winning student advisor, international education expert. He is the founder and CEO of Aliff Institute. Mr. Asslam Shaikh is a named top uh, top best counseling leader in 2020 by the Knowledge Review. His company has counseled over 23,000 students and so far offered the total scholarship of rupees 23 crores to students studying abroad. He has traveled 14 countries, more than 14 countries, I must say, and brought in the best counseling experience to students and their parents. He aspires to never stop learning because life never stops teaching. Very true, sir. Joining him is Nicholas Venn from Springfield University, USA. He had he has worked in higher education admission for over a decade, working with international students to help them achieve their dreams of studying in United States, and has helped thousands of students in creating a path of successful career around the world. He is responsible for admission related decisions, scholarship, recruitments, and orientation for all the international students and students wishing to study abroad. So please welcome Mr. Sheikh and Mr. Venn. Hello, sir. How are you? Hello,
Hi,
Mr.
good.
Sheikh, and hello, Mr. Win. Please
Hello.
welcome aboard on Big Bash Sports and Growing Buddy hand in hand.
Thank you very much
Hello.
for inviting us.
Yes. Sir, say something about you. Say something about you, sir, Mr. Aslam.
Yeah, man, thank you for your encouraging introduction, which you've already done from my point of view. But just to introduce, so we are a company who we call ourselves as an educationist. We help the students to architect their career. And
Okay.
in doing so, we help them to identify what are the right options because most of the time students are confused what to do, and parents are also. So the first
Okay.
step is to find what they want to do in their life and help them
Okay.
through with that first very question. And once they
Okay.
identify the right options for them, then we try to connect that right option with the right university, right country across the globe.
Okay.
And we've been doing it for last over 10 years now, and
Okay.
that's pretty much about us. Thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Wen, I really want you to introduce yourself and your experience of student counseling and everything.
Of course. Well, first, I want to say thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak with
It's my
everyone.
pleasure indeed.
So, my name is Nicholas Venn, and I am the Associate Director of International Admissions at Springfield College. So, basically, what I do is work with students from other countries to try to help them achieve their goals and their dreams attending institutions in the U.S. Many students and parents think that the first step, or I'm sorry, the goal is to get into a good school, right? Like I'm in, that's it. It's really not.
Okay.
The first step is it's just the first step of what you need to do to become successful. After all, you're not coming to the U.S. To study. You're not just coming to do homework or read
Okay.
books and papers. While you might like doing that, all of that is preparation to get a really good job. So what we
Okay.
do is work to make sure that students have a pathway to the most successful career. And
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Mr. Aslam Sheikh, I really would like to know from you. Like, you are amongst the topmost counselor from India. So, what is your Alif Institute all about, and how you are working for the young people, young students to achieve their goals?
Yeah, so basically, we formed this company in the year 2009, and the whole goal was to identify the right option for the students. And we see that the world is becoming, and what we say very commonly, a global village. And people
Okay.
are started liking the different things. Earlier we used to be
Okay.
very content with our country, with our culture, with our way of life. But as
Okay.
we have got the digital advancement, transportational advancement, that has enabled
Okay.
people to travel and explore the world. And
Okay.
we want to be a very play an active part. And we believe
Okay.
that unless you travel, unless you go out of your comfort zone, unless you challenge yourself, unless you
Okay.
sit with the different nationalities, with the different minds in this world,
Okay.
the learning would not
Okay.
come so easily. And you take the example,
Okay.
the great Mahatma Gandhi we had in our nation, who helped us to win
Okay.
the freedom. He was the student of
Okay.
studying abroad. He did his law from Africa,
Yes.
right? So
Okay.
it's not a new thing. It's just that we have forgotten some lessons which one of our great
Okay.
leaders have given us. So
Okay.
his mindset was got built up. So I believe strongly the student needs to travel, see the different part of the world. This is the one life you get in your
Yes,
lifetime, one
definitely.
career you get. So why
Okay.
not to explore? Why not to see and experience the best thing in the world if
Yes.
that chance has been given to us? So that's what we stand
Okay.
for. And we
Okay.
have got a group of good counselors. We do travel across different
Okay.
countries, different universities. So what we try
Okay.
to do is to bring, because we understand that it's not in India that you can just travel and see the university. When it comes
Okay.
down to study abroad, more often you rely on to a trusted counselor, so that they
Okay.
can come back with their experience to tell you that which country or which college is good for them. And
Okay.
we believe that we have a big responsibility to play, because it's not practically possible for anybody to just travel across the world and pick and choose the university.
Okay.
And unless you be there, you can't have a feel of that place. You can't judge
Okay.
them, you can't smell them on the website.
Okay.
So
Yes, yes.
we believe that it's good that we travel and we bring in that experience in India, and we
Okay.
help them to take a right decision. So, as a matter of
Okay.
fact, I've been to the Springfield College, the Nicholas
Okay.
represent one of the best sports facilities I've seen in
Okay. Wow.
during my visit, and that's the reason why we can vouch for these kind of colleges, which stands very tall in the world for certain reasons, and that's the reason why we are together here.
Wow, very nice. So again, to the viewers who are seeing the live just now, I really want your input, your questions, anything you want to ask Mr. Sheikh or Mr. Venn. Definitely, they are here to answer you. Please put in your questions, and definitely they will fulfill your queries today. So, Mr. Venn, how you started with the career as a counselor, and how input what input you have given to your life, and what result you have obtained in this future.
So, thank you very much for the question. I started doing this immediately after I finished college or university.
Okay.
I had done a study abroad in China,
Okay.
where I learned to speak Mandarin Chinese, and I learned exactly what Mr. Aslam was saying um, about how it is critically important for students these days to have some kind of global perspective. It
Yes,
is a
very true.
global economy these days, and
Yes.
think of it this way: if you go to apply for a job and
Okay.
you have an A and someone else has an A, but you
Okay.
have the international experience, that company will go for you. And that's exactly how I felt in my career, and that's exactly how I feel going forward.
Okay. Okay. Wow, very nice. So, sir, there is a question coming across for you. My question is to Mr. Sheikh. It is what to student study sports management in abroad?
Yeah, well, uh,
I'm
I would
coming to
say
right
that,
point.
yeah, no, of course. I mean, it's a good question to have to begin the session.
I
What I would
know.
say, no, I was just saying that how much words should I say? So that,
No, it's fine. I came
okay,
directly to the point so people
yeah,
can and understand the clarity of what they are
right.
looking forward. Yeah,
See, the
thank you.
point is that, as Nicholas rightly said, that when you compare the qualification, in the end, the qualification you would match with other people. Like in Mumbai context, you are from NM College or you are from Metibai College. You both have got the similar degree.
Okay.
Now, the s- the pace for competing on the basis of education is over. That era is over.
Okay.
There was an era in our father's time whereby having the bachelor degree was the thing to have, because many people used to end up with diplomas. Then
Okay.
the era came in our life where having a master degree became a benchmark for you to distinguish yourself in the market.
Okay.
Now, the competition on the education degree is over, because now everybody has got the access to those degrees, those qualifications.
Okay.
Now, how do you differentiate yourself? And this is where I want to draw the point what Nicholas rightly said, that there are other elements which you need to see through
Okay.
which you learn, you add some value, and maybe that's a value you transform into your career to the place where you're
Okay.
working or where you're starting your
Okay.
business. And this is where
Okay.
abroad education adds that transformational value to your career.
Okay.
So that's how you see the value. So when you invest into a money, and when I talk in direct terms, so the return on investment. So when you talk about return on investment, you work abroad, you get a career abroad, or you bring that experience in India, which is a growing nation in this particular
Okay.
sports management field.
Okay.
Definitely, you are much, much different, and you start at a different level than the other people, whereby you're
Okay.
still struggling in India to talk about sports management as a diploma courses, right?
Okay.
Sports management, whereby you do not have enough infrastructure. We may come on to this point later on, but I mean to say that you
Okay.
already have an edge with an international
Okay.
education in that terms.
Okay. So you are exposed, the ratio of exposure to the study level is more there, you want to say that way, or it is somehow the same, and then also you get a more quality of knowledge from the study abroad, and it gives you the grip of sports or any other career very strongly.
Yeah, I mean, in India, we are still trying to catch up with this sports as a career. We are still
Okay.
trying to
Yes.
understand. We are still trying to figuring out.
Yes.
We are still just coming out of the egg of what you
Okay.
call cricket to be a
Okay. Yes.
multi sports country. We are still taking a baby step, wherein
Okay.
the world is talking about the performance in sports, the
Okay.
performance in different types of sports. The world is talking about science involved, data involved, data
Okay.
management involved into sports. So the world has gone
Okay.
at least 15 years ahead of us, and we got to catch them
Okay.
up. And this is where I
Okay.
believe you go, you get your first hand experience in this developed nation, and
Okay.
then start of your career there, or come back to India and make some valuable
Okay.
contribution. Because, like, say, for example,
Yes.
the government has taken the initiative of Khelo India. So they have
Okay.
taken the initiative to encourage the youth to take
Okay.
sports as a serious activity, right? Not
Yes.
just evening
Yes.
activity or weekend activity. So I believe
Okay.
that this experience and exposure can contribute to build the nation as well as your career.
Okay. Very true. Very true. Very nice. So next question I have for Mr. Wen. What are the apprehensive you are facing for parents when you see students showing interest in the field of sports?
Yes. I think it's kind of funny. I think it depends on what generation you're talking to. But when you speak to parents about sports management or something along those lines, I think their initial thought is, well, what kind of future is there for something like that? I mean, what could
Okay.
you possibly do getting into sports? I think the important thing to remember here is that sports is not just playing. Sports
Okay.
are a multi billion-dollar industry across the world. I mean,
Okay.
you're talking everything from NBA partnerships with Nike. You're talking about somebody who has to manage the arenas where these people play their games. I mean, everything for any kind of industry or job that you could think of, there's sports,
Okay.
right? I mean, it is. Think about any industry that makes hundreds of billions of dollars a year. And that's the same thing with sports. It's a huge industry, and you need support people. You need people that are doing sports auditing. You need people that are doing sports management. You need people that are doing physical therapy. I mean, every single piece is part of sports. So what I would say to those parents is just think about how much money is involved in sports and see if your child can get a piece of that pie.
Okay, so for according to you, you are not just teaching what is sports just to play on the field, but apart from playing on the field, there is many things involved in sports that is also a career oriented for kids coming out there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the players, and I hate to say this, while the players are the stars of the show, they are also perhaps one of the smallest pieces of the machine of sports, right?
Okay,
There's all the support staff that it requires to run any business, because at the end of the day, it is a business, and it's a very, very successful business.
okay, okay. Very nice, very nice. So, sir, next question is there. As we are seeing, many from Sapna, she's asking, as we are seeing many guys are doing masters sports management from the abroad, but they don't want to get back to India. So I just want what changes needs to be done. Yes, sir.
Oh, Nicholas, if you
Hello.
want to say,
Yes,
or
sir.
I'll go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead, and then I'll follow up.
Okay. So I believe that it depends upon what's your goal and how do you define the goal. It may happen that many people have decided, and it's not a bad thing as such, to stay back in a foreign country after your
Yeah.
education and spend some years to understand the professionalism of the sports or of the program which you are, want to pursue, and maybe later on you want to come and serve in your
Okay.
country. So what happens is that we need to see and we need to understand the mindset of a student also. As an essentially a student, I
Okay.
would definitely counsel him to say that, okay, go to the best place to study, but education is just one part.
Okay.
It's just preparing you for the foundation.
Okay.
The real experience comes when you are
Okay.
actually there in the industry to work. And
Yes. Very
it
true.
would be a wise decision to stay back for a few years, get yourself a work experience,
Yes.
because then it gives you a lot of
Yes.
ideas that what do you want to do with that experience. And here, the
Okay.
every person is very free to decide whether he wants to stay back in the country, whether he wants to migrate to some other country, whether he sees the opportunity. I mean, I'm talking to a lot of students who went maybe 7, 8, 9 years back, and now after having 4,
Okay.
5 years of experience, or even after 3 years of experience, if any good idea comes and if they see the opportunity in any respective field, which is there in India, they would want to take that idea back to India and want to implement and start the startup. And you see, that's the reason
Okay.
why probably we have got a lot of startups coming in this particular domain. And the startups
Okay.
are not only coming as a company to be on the of the field, but also
Okay.
in the domain of IT and applications and apps.
Okay.
Like, for example, you take the example of Hotstar. It has got nothing to
Okay.
do, but it is giving you an app-based service
Yes.
to
Very
view
true.
the sports. There are so many
Okay.
startups can be started, and India is slowly and gradually becoming a hot destination for startups.
I know. I know. And in the short course of time, sir, I've seen a lot of upliftment in sports also. And yes, I think now the government has given a green signal to do sports activity. So more and more people will be involved in sports in the coming months and all. So it's very nice, sir. Sir, there is a question from Kushi Ganatra. She has asked, any wheelchair user person do the masters in sports management? I think it's a tricky, but you have to answer it.
I can answer this one. I can say absolutely,
Oh, wow.
100%.
Very nice.
Um, Sports management is really just another academic program or pathway. Um,
Okay.
I would say, could a person in a wheelchair be an accountant? could a person in a wheelchair be a manager? And the answer is yes to all of those. And sports management, again, is the same thing. I know people like to commonly grab on to the word sport, but I think the more important word on that is management. And
Okay.
somebody in a wheelchair could be a manager, absolutely. I don't see any reason why
Wow.
they couldn't manage sports.
Okay. Wow. Super. Mr. Sheikh, I have a question for you. How is the game of cricket involved over this 20 years time, and what new career opportunity we have been added? Like what we can see further for the future?
See, I believe that the best thing happened to India is the cricket. There's no
Okay.
doubt about it. That allowed us to win 2 World Cups, have a good fame, have some respect in the sports field. That at least we are
Okay.
known for that particular one sport. So that's the
I know.
best thing to happen, and that has kind of given the encouragement for the young kids to look at the sports at least from that window. So that's I
Okay.
see this as a positive note. However,
Okay.
I think we, for
Okay.
a long period of time, we carried away with one sport too much,
Okay. Okay.
right? That's something which is now changing, and that's how now India is no longer a cricket-driven country. It's
Okay.
still in the name of dominance. Like for example, the entire collected sponsorship for across
Okay.
all the sports in India, still
Okay.
cricket accounts for 51% of those sponsorship amount.
Oh wow.
But I see the positive side. It's not 100%. It's not even 80%.
Okay.
It's 51%. So half of the
Yes.
share of the sponsorship has gone to other sports. That's a good sign.
Okay. Okay. Very
Second
nice,
thing,
sir.
now we see the cricket, of course, because you can only select 11 people to play for your nation and maybe a few
Okay.
extras. So you have got high competition. But
Okay.
now with the advent of the league system, so we have got IPL, so Indian
Yes.
Premium League. Because of the league
Okay.
and many teams has got created, then suddenly the opportunity has increased within the cricket, and
Okay.
it has become a more of a entertaining game rather than being a very matured, serious game.
Okay.
Now, IPL happened, and that helped to have the other leagues in the other sports. Like we have got now the Pro Kabaddi League,
Okay.
PKL. Then we have got Indian Sports League for football. And in fact, let me tell you and the audience that the number of audience on an
Okay.
average attended Indian Sports League, that's for football, across
Okay.
India was the fourth highest in the world after
Oh
the
wow.
top three leagues
Superb,
of
sir.
football. So it
Okay.
means that Indians are getting over of cricket mania, and we are getting the chess is becoming popular, kabaddi is becoming popular,
Yes.
badminton is becoming popular, archery is becoming popular, running is
Okay.
becoming popular. So we are seeing that
Okay.
India is developing into the multinational, multi-sports nation, and that's a
Oh
good
wow.
sign.
Wow, very nice, very superb. And sir, I'm shocked that for football, so many Indians have been present for seeing the match. Very nice. It's very amazing.
Yes.
Mr. Vin, I have a question for you. What is the future for other sports? Like as Mr. Sheikh told about cricket and all, cricket and kabaddi. So like I'm playing, I'm a throw ball player. What is the future for throw ball? What is the future for quorum or any other sports, pickleball or any other sports? What is the future like? Badminton. What is the future? Badminton is still again a very good sports. It's well a world renowned sports.
Of
So
course.
yeah, so which other sports, what value they hold in your university, and how much you encourage kids for that sports also?
Okay. Yes, thank you for the question. So I'm going to provide a little bit of context. Springfield College was founded in 1885. Um, and so it's a very old institution.
Okay.
We are very, very famous, world famous, I think, for a few reasons, but for sure the most popular is that the person who invented basketball, Dr. James Naismith, was a student and a professor of Springfield College. So we are known as the birthplace of basketball. Now, that was in 1895, I believe. So that was a very long time ago. But the reason I say this is Springfield College has seen a tremendous amount of evolution in sports throughout that time. I mean, the first
Okay.
game of basketball was played using a leather ball and a grape basket with the bottom cut out, and that was it. And now it's world famous sport. So um, I think it's important to realize that over the last 100 years, sports have only gotten more popular, and it's only going to continue to do so. As Mr. Sheikh was saying, the industry continues to grow in India. In the U.S., it's very much the same. And I want to bring up another very good point. If you look at any global recession, and I'm nervous to bring this up, but if you look at any global recession, you'll always find an extreme resurgence in sports following that. And that is
Okay.
because, if there is a recession, if people don't have jobs, if people don't, they look towards the entertainment and the uplifting energy that
Okay.
sports gives them. And so, what you'll see in the next few years following the pandemic, I think, and this is my prediction, is a huge growth in a lot of sports that may have been underrepresented before the pandemic.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean,
So,
and what I mean by that is an increase in job opportunities and
okay.
the general field of sports management.
Okay. So apart from basketball, football, cricket, badminton, which other sports are being weighted more in USA? Like which are more played sports like, and they
Um,
have future in coming future.
Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of cricket in the U.S. I will say that what Mr. Sheikh said earlier, one of the benefits of studying in the United States is that you get different theories or perspectives of best practices in sports management. So it makes you a much more well-rounded, student or applicant. But in terms of the sports that the U.S. is very large on, we have many, but I'd say the most popular would be basketball, NBA, would be hockey, NHL, would be baseball, MLB. Um, um, yeah, those are the ones that come to my mind right now, but I'm sure I'm forgetting some very important ones. Oh, and actually, you know what? Soccer, as we say in the U.S., football, has become much, much more popular over the last 10 years. It
Okay.
was almost never on television before, and I would travel to other countries and I'd see everybody cheering about it. But as an American, I was always just kind of clueless. I mean, I grew up playing it, but it's not really on TV. Now,
Okay.
ever since the World Cup that we were in, which we didn't do very well, but we made it, we America has become a lot more popularized with soccer.
Okay. So, Mr. Sheikh, I think next question you can answer it better. In India, especially in Delhi, no university or institute for ex- exercising physiology, sports management, and strength and conditions are there. So, what suggestion you have for Mr. Agrawal?
Yeah,
Come
I
to
mean,
Springfield College. Sorry.
yeah.
Oh, Acha,
uh,
you would like to answer? Yeah.
No, no, I was just joking around. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything fine.
I think, yeah, I'll agree with Agarwal what he's saying, and that's I said precisely that we are just taking a baby step towards a big industry we are going to experience here in India,
Okay.
and it's a very big industry, like 80,000 crores worth of sponsorship. In
Okay.
this particular sports you are seeing only in India. It's huge
Okay.
money, huge money. Then we're talking about a lot of electronics companies is sponsoring, and they are much ahead of other companies, especially when the sports sponsorship comes in India. And I'm sure you must have noticed that among the electronic companies, it's a mobile company. They
Okay.
are taking the head in order to promote these sports. Now, coming to the question, yes, this is where we are facing the challenge. But you remember one thing: if you provide the solution to the existing problem,
Okay.
that solution becomes worthwhile. That's how you make your career out of it, right? So, buying a book was a pain, and that's where Jeff Bezos came into picture to make your life easy.
Okay.
So you take this as an opportunity. It's a land of opportunity. It's not just said just for the sake of saying. It's because of this reason. uh,
Okay.
making the payments through
Okay.
cash or check was a big pain. That's where the Paytm came into picture or Google Pay came into picture. And
I
it made
know.
whole job easy to make the payments to each other.
I
So if
know.
you make the opportunity which is available
Okay.
and convert the challenges and bring into the solution as a value proposition, this is where
Okay.
stand tall. And that's why I say this is a very good opportunity, good period, good time to enter into
Okay.
this field. Now you talk about the engineering, for example. We have
Okay.
got the state in India now wherein the engineering colleges are getting closed down, shut down because they don't have
Okay.
enough admissions, right?
Yes, very
So
true.
we already are overpassing that era and we are entering into the new era, new ball of game, new industries. And that's
Okay.
where going abroad in certain, especially this field like sports management or anything related to sports, field
Okay.
like biomedical, bioscience, field like
Okay.
sustainable engineering or renewable engineering, field like
Okay.
AI,
Okay.
uh, augmented reality, games
Okay.
development. So not only sports, you take the example of these are the programs because for which you would want to go out because they are more advanced. The other
Okay.
countries are more advanced in this field. You want to learn,
Okay.
adapt, experience, and maybe tomorrow want to bring it back.
Okay.
So what Bunsel's gave India is Flipkart.
Okay.
So they went abroad, worked for Amazon, brought
Okay.
that copy here, and they gave us a Flipkart. So think
Okay.
in this way, that's opportunity for you.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So, Mr. Venn, there is a question for you, I think. Mr. Sonavale, sir, he is from Amateur Throwball Association from Mumbai. He has asked you, can we introduce throwball in USA?
Um, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't see any reason say what you want about America, say good or bad, and I'm sure, believe me, I fully respect that there's plenty of both. Okay, but one of the things that I will say is that we do love our sports. It's a huge part of our culture, and
Okay.
so, like I mentioned, during this pandemic, we have been introduced to so many more sports than we were beforehand because of the fact that a lot of the major league teams were not able to play. And we were kind of laughing about it because normally you'd be watching a football game on Sundays or some other big sporting event, and instead, because all that's canceled, we're watching people throwing darts. And that's something you would never see on TV. But now all of a sudden, people are getting into it.
Yes,
So
very
I
true.
would I would actually say that there's probably no better time in American history that I have been a part of to introduce
Okay.
a new sport to the U.S.
Yes, definitely. We will be sure there with you, with Mr. Sheikh. He is going to bring us all there to play sports and introduce a new sports throw ball there
Yeah.
for sure. Mr. Sheikh, I want to ask you, what is sports journalism and how important it is to study sports journalism, and it has a great value for sports in that the other way also.
Yeah. So I would answer this question by taking one step back because this is a very common question I come across when the students of uh, BMS background, they want to, or BMM background sometime wants to get into journalism. Now,
Okay.
first thing is that journalism itself is a huge field, in order to
Yeah,
explore.
definitely.
Now,
Yes.
what's happening is that you take any particular career, you
Okay.
further needs an expertise into that particular career. Like, for example, you become a chartered accountant. When you become a
Okay.
chartered accountant, you need to choose practically one field in order to master in one particular field. Like you can be a chartered accountant to corporates, chartered
Okay.
accountant to trust, chartered
Okay.
accountant to schools, and this is where you develop your expertise. Or chartered accounting services for GST only, right? Now,
Okay.
similarly, when you become a journalist, you need to choose in which field you want to take the journalism on. So you can
Okay.
get into media, you can get into corporates, you can write for film, you can write a film
Okay.
magazines, you can write for you can become a film critic. That's also part of journalism. And similarly, Now, by seeing this concept, now you look at the sports as a field to specialize yourself in a journalism.
Okay. So
So
apart from being playing sports on the field, what are the other opportunities of getting career in sports?
yeah, so I'll say a few, and maybe Nicholas can also add with his university background
Okay.
experience. So,
Okay.
first thing, and it's a very good question which you asked, Sheetal, because again, we connect sports means a player
Yes,
because
as
he
you
is the
say,
star,
only 11 players are playing on the field. The rest are
right?
watching. So the rest has to do something, na? So
Absolutely.
the
So,
yeah.
I would like to take this opportunity with your very good question asked and to convey this message that when you watch a movie, it's not only
Okay.
actors, it's the entire crew
Yes, very
behind the
true.
movie, right? The same analogy, you can
Okay.
use it for sports. So these
Great
are the
analogy.
stars
Yes,
who are
very
right
true.
in front of you. However, in order to
Okay.
run this entire show, it takes pre
Okay.
and post arrangements. And then I say
Yes, very
arrangement is a
true.
very simple looking word, but it has maybe it includes people like selling the tickets, selling the sponsorship to the
Okay.
corporates, managing the
Okay.
celebrities. Like we had this IPL so famous because Shahrukh bought Kolkata team or Preeti Zinta bought a one
Okay.
team. So somebody must have
Okay.
approached to Shahrukh with an
Okay.
idea, right? So that's a celebrity
Okay.
management. That's an easy way to understand. Apart
Okay.
from that, when you this is the pre-sports. When you the sports happen, it's a sports event. It's
Okay.
an event happening, right? Whether it's a sport
Okay.
for 2 hours or 10 hours. So how do you manage that event? It's a whole subject to discuss. And then
Okay.
we discuss post event. So it could be pre or post connected where we talk about the sport and physical wellness, physical health of
Okay.
athletes. You are trying to
Okay.
crunch the data. Now, in the cricket and in football, the data comes in your screen that, say,
Okay.
Virat Kohli, when playing in this particular ground, always scored this much of
Okay.
runs, right? So how
Okay.
does this data come?
Yes.
So it's a data management. It's a database management, right? And with the
Okay.
apps and with the AI, you run through the data to come out with a lot of figures and facts about the sports. So that's how
Okay.
there are different areas rather than just looking at the player. These are the different
Okay.
areas.
Okay.
So I hope that answers, but I'm sure that Nicholas has got a lot of to add to this, Nicholas.
Yes, please. Nicholas, I please.
I mean, to be completely honest with you, that was an amazing answer. I will try to add a little bit of additional context. Like Mr. Sheikh said, there's a whole lot happening in the background. The so John Cena is also a graduate of Springfield College, right? And he went on
Okay.
to obviously become a very famous WWE superstar. But a lot of people don't know that he also runs his own companies, right? And
Okay.
this is all a part of sports management. Many famous athletes do, and to Mr. Sheikh's point as well, in terms of the post athletics, so the athletes come off the field. If you were to break down each athlete into how much they were worth monetarily
Okay.
for the team, what would you say? Let's say that you have an athlete who has a contract for 5 years at 100 million US dollars. That means that
Okay.
that athlete is worth about $100 million. If you had something that you
Okay.
thought was worth $100 million, you would probably want to make sure that it stayed in really good condition, right? And this is where all of those physical therapists, and this is where all the health science people, exercise physiology, this is where all those people come in to make sure that those machines, those athletes, stay in good working condition because it's in the interest of the team. And they make so much money
Okay.
because they make the institution or the teams a lot more money. And when there's more money, there's more jobs. It's simple economics, right? And so that's kind of how you need to think
Yeah,
of it.
very
You
true.
need to think about it just like any other industry. Because at the end of the day, all of those sponsors are paying a lot of money. All of those teams need to employ different folks. At our school, we had a professor who used to work for the Chicago Bulls, the basketball NBA team. and he did only sports analytics. So he would take
Okay.
all of the data of all the players, how many points they shot, how many free throws they had, all of those details, run it through algorithms to try to predict where they needed to improve in order to beat teams specifically.
Okay.
Very interesting. Way, way above my pay grade. I could never do it, but very interesting stuff. But that just shows you, like, nobody would think about sports analytics as a potential career field. But the guy made millions of dollars doing it. It just goes to show there's a lot more opportunities in sports than you think.
Oh, wow, very nice. Sir, there is a question coming up. Is distance sports management studies worth it?
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, please, please.
I was going to say, if by distance you mean studying abroad, is that what we think the
No,
question is? Or do you mean
online education.
online education? Yeah. Okay. I mean, go ahead. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay, so if I need to be very frank and honest and I speak my mind, what I believe always
Okay.
is your physical presence, as I mentioned earlier also, is make whole lot of
Yes, sir.
difference. So
Yes,
I'm
very true,
not
sir.
absolutely in favor of any form of distance education or online education because that just add another points to your profile. Try to understand this thing.
Okay.
It just add
Okay.
one tick to your profile. Maybe it may look good on LinkedIn profile that when you have got
Okay.
one more certification
I
to your
know.
credit, right? But I
Yes,
don't
very
buy
true,
this
sir.
idea. And if I had to recruit someone, I will never go to recruit someone who has just studied being online for any particular course, wherein the
Okay.
opportunities are to study offline, learn with the team, work out, be there in the ground, and see by yourself how does it functions in a real time. In fact,
Yes, very true.
like hospitality management, you can't be a chef being online. You can't be a
Okay.
doctor being online. I still say
Okay.
that in order to be a sports, right? Whether you still you want to want to work in the back end office, but still you want to understand the game, right? if,
Okay.
if you want to be a chef who works in the kitchen, but you want to understand the taste of the customer,
Okay.
right? So for that, you got to be on the ground. So that's the reason why I'm not a big fan of online education of any sort, unless it can put an extra take and if you are okay with that, but it doesn't necessarily give you a right learning which you would require at this time. So hence, my answer to conclude is that take an opportunity to study uh, full-time program. And in fact, colleges like Springfield College, they offer a lot of internship opportunities, you know,
Okay.
beside having the classroom studies. So we are not just talking
Okay.
about the study alone or post-study exposure. We are talking about whilst you're studying,
Okay.
student, you gain experience because
Okay.
that also is maybe one of the requirements or may help you to study better.
Okay.
Yeah, universe.
Oh, very,
Yeah,
very true. Thank you. And
I would say that I absolutely agree with all of that. For especially for sports management, there's a tactile sense that you need to have. You need to actually be working with teams and players. I will say right now that because of the pandemic, Springfield College has allowed international students to do their first semester remotely. And I can also tell you that we hate it. We're doing it because we still want to make sure that our students are prepared. But wow, we can't wait for them to come back. It's really unfortunate, but it's the cards that we were dealt. But yeah, I mean, the end point of that is that how can students do internships if they can't arrive if you're online, right? I mean, it's incredibly important to have that practical experience. And I will say that about 99% of all of our majors have some type of practical internship experience throughout the course. I will tell you this, and I'll give you a little personal anecdote here. I was a good student when I was in university. I got good grades, but I did not get involved in anything. I didn't do any internships. I thought I was just there to study, right? And I lost so many opportunities because I would go and apply for jobs after I graduated, and it was other students that had really good grades just like me, except they also had done those internships. They had worked with those teams. They had the experience. I was sitting there like, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, I just graduated, university. How can I be expected to have 2 years of experience? But other people had it, and that's just become the norm. So what you need to do is
Yes.
as Mr.
Hello.
Sheikh said, you really need.
Hello.
Yes, can you
Yes,
hear
sir.
me?
You can hear me. The voice
Yeah,
is
yeah,
glitching.
Yeah, I
yeah,
can hear you. Azam, can you hear me?
yeah, yeah. We can hear.
Okay, great. So I was going to say, what the point is that those internships and getting that
Hello.
experience early and often is absolutely what's going to set you ahead. And for something like sports management,
Hello.
it's kind of critical that you have that, on the ground. You have to be there.
Right.
Okay.
I think the voice is cracking, but we'll be back. Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Hello, can you
You
hear
can hear
us?
me.
yeah. We can hear you.
We can hear you. It's like, okay. Now it's a discussion between you and I.
Right. That's
I
that.
will say, it's very interesting to see the way that sports management has evolved, or the sports fields. So, again, Springfield College has watched.
Yes. Hello.
Hello,
Yeah.
you back? Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi, Sheetal. Can you hear us?
I think there is a glitching in there.
I mean, I can hear Nicholas. I can. Nicholas can also hear me.
Crystal clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry. There was a small interruption. There was a
No
glitching in the
problem.
network. Okay, sir. So basically, I really wanted to take not much of your time and just going to conclude very shortly. But two more questions to go. The first one is how pandemic is going to affect and how we can overcome from this pandemic for any sort of career or sports career uh, in abroad.
Yeah, I'll take this real quick. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but as I said, behind recessions and pandemics, once things recover, I think that you're going to see an enormous boom in the sports fields. People are starving for it. I don't think that many people. I mean, maybe sports is something that you take for granted, um,
Okay.
but people think, oh, it's always on TV or it's always been a part of my life. It's not going anywhere. And now, because of the pandemic, people haven't had that outlet.
Okay.
Sports gives you a sense of community. It gives you a sense of pride. It's something that you can look to in down times. Like, oh, my life's not doing well, but at least the Dodgers are doing well. Like it gives you an outlet, and so that's one of the reasons I think people love sports. And during this pandemic, a lot of sports have been put on hold, or fans are not allowed to come to the stadiums or whatever. Like
Okay.
I was watching an NHL game where they had fake cheering coming from the
Okay.
stands, even though there was nobody in the audience, because the players are
Okay.
so used to it, they need to get charged up.
I
Right?
know, I know. That is
Yeah,
right.
it's
That is
crazy. It's crazy.
definitely.
And so I think that what you're going to see is once we have the opportunity to really embrace this again, it's going to be like,
Yes.
yes, finally.
Yes. We are out and we are watching the game, we are playing the game. It should be like that way. So, sir, Mr. Sheikh, I really wanted your opinion about this pandemic situation, how we are overcoming in it.
Okay. So in general, it's going to hit everyone, no doubt about
Okay.
it. So
Okay.
no matter in which industry you're talking about, and this
Yes,
question
definitely.
is usually asked from all the corner of the industry. So it's
Yes,
going to
very true.
impact. That's let's be very clear about it.
Yes, very
But
true, sir.
however, we talk about what happens post pandemic. It's not going to be the life for the remaining period of our lifetime
Yes,
to
very.
experience. So we
Yes.
always need to see what is lying beyond this point, right?
Okay.
And one very important word, Nicholas used, that the people are starving. So
Okay.
see, people are starving to go out,
Okay.
and
Yes,
then
very
I
true.
say that go out to do what? So they can
Oh,
do
very true.
what all they can go out into the restaurant. They're starving. They are. I think they're enough to have the in-house food. They just want to go out. And
I
then in India we
know.
have got the culture. Abroad we have got the culture to go out. Similarly, you want to go out. You see, the Lonavala and
Okay.
Ambevali was completely full for last 2 months since the time
Okay.
government allowed 30% and then 50% of occupancy in the hotels,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Completely full. So tell you that we are starving to go out. Now,
Yes.
sports is such an activity which not only offers you an opportunity to have an outing, but also you enjoy with the community, a community of friends or a
Okay.
family or a like-minded
Yes.
people, right?
Yes. Very true.
Sports
Very true.
also offer you an opportunity to go and play by yourself. So what
Yes.
if you can't qualify for your state level or national level games? But you can
Yes.
always
Very true.
hire the ground club and then you can play among yourself, right?
Yes. Very true. Very
and,
true.
and as a hobby, if not at all, as a hobby, you want to play because you believe that you are good in certain sports, you want to go and play out. So it's another form of doing an exercise as well, if you
Okay.
see, if I consider swimming as a sports, it's also
Yes.
connected to your exercise. So what I mean to say
Yes.
is that if you look at the sports in this way, there's a huge potential,
Okay.
right? And this is where, again, I say that prepare yourself for the next big thing to happen.
Very
Don't
true, sir.
let that opportunity to go out of your hand when already many people are standing in a queue and you are behind. So
Okay.
this is a fantastic time. You tell me what otherwise you have an opportunity to do in this pandemic situation. You don't have a jobs either, right? You
Yes.
don't have any
Yes.
meaningful engagement to do. What is the
Yes.
best time when you got nothing to do? Invest into education. That's a
Okay.
simple advice. So that you prepare yourself for future. You just don't waste your time.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. So in this pandemic time, are you offering any distance course that which can go there like after 3 months or 4 months you can go there and join in the regular course?
Yeah.
Yeah, so right now we are offering all of our undergraduate programs remotely to international students. So, I mean, tell you what, I spent 6 months of the last year traveling around the world, trying to
Okay.
encourage students to come and attend in the U.S. And then we had many, 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 many interested students, and then the pandemic happened, and the embassies closed, and there was nothing that the students could do, right? But they had
Yeah.
already
Very true.
expressed interest. I had already been speaking with them and their parents for months. I mean, we had to do something. Obviously, we had enough time to prepare. So we set up all of our programs to be able to do remote learning for at least one semester for the students that did not get their visas, because it's only fair. It's not their fault, you know. So,
Okay.
and we don't want them to stop their education. So yes, once the students complete that semester,
Okay.
and the embassies open back up, they get their visas and they come and they've already completed those courses. And they'll
Very
have
nice.
friends from classes that they've taken online already, and they can finally meet in person. So we're really looking forward to spring.
Yes. Very true. And something, Mr. Sheikh, you want to say something about it?
Yeah. So my advice to the students is that you can make use of this opportunity. What
Okay.
has been done is that the universities like Springfield College have collected the subjects which
Okay.
can be taught over online mode or
Okay.
remote education mode, right?
Okay.
And the other programs which require more of a personal contact have been
Okay.
separated many cases, so that
Okay.
once you complete the semester, you do
Okay.
not lose out the time and you still be available for the next semester, wherein more of a personal involved subjects or
Yeah,
demanding subjects are kept for you to come and experience on campus.
yeah,
Like with other countries, what has happened is that some countries have opened up completely. So what
Yes.
they are
Yes.
doing is that in certain European countries, you can go to study. Now here I'm opening up the answer for all the programs just to give
Okay.
the perspective. So the
Yes. Very
students
true, sir.
can go. They can do online course while being in the country, and once in a week or twice in a week, university invite you to come on campus. So it's a hybrid model. So you do
Okay.
distance, but by being in the country, at the same time for 1 or 2 days in a week, you're still there on campus to take up some subjects.
right.
So
Oh,
there are
very nice.
different ways in which universities are operating in order to make sure that it doesn't results into a loss of academic period, which is very important.
Okay.
Yes, and
Okay.
I would actually like to point out really quickly. So many countries were unable to. Many students were unable to get their visas. Ghana, Nepal, many other countries. However, I was if you had bet me $1 million that
Okay.
India was going to the embassies in India were going to open up in time for students to arrive in the U.S. to study, I would have lost $1 million because I did not think that the embassies were going to open up. However, about a week ago, we had 3 students that were ready to go. They were planning on doing our distance learning because they weren't going to get visas. Indian students, and then they ended up going to the embassy. They got their visas, and they arrived yesterday. So it's cutting it a little bit close because the school year is already a day or two in, but they arrived. They're happy. So, and then we are also doing the hybrid model. So these students that come will also do sometimes studying online or a lot of their homework and stuff online and discussions. But then they'll also meet with the professors, like once or twice a week, like you said. So we do have that model available for students who are able to arrive.
So your message, both of yours, Mr. Venn and Mr. Sheikh, message to all the people is that you don't have to wait for pandemic to get over. You are already on the track. You are providing kids the proper education channel, and yes, they can proceed. You don't have to wait for certain amount of time to get the pandemic get over.
Yes, and
That
I would like to
that is
add to
the
that.
yes.
Think of it this way. What are you doing with your time right now? You're home, you can't go out or you can't go to restaurants or you have more free time, you're out of work, you're whatever, you're working from home. Are
Okay.
you doing anything to push yourself to the next level? And if not, I can tell you that there are millions of people who are. Students that are still going to school right now during the pandemic, students that are still trying to push their education to the next level. What that means is they're going to be, 4 or 5 months ahead of you when all is said and done. So, don't fall behind.
Okay. Sir, I won't take much of your time. I'd like to conclude with last question. Sir, in sports career, when I talk about sports career, when people from lower class or someone else wants to go for further studies, so what kind of sponsorships you are helping out to people so that it is easy for them to achieve their sports career or any sort of other career, sir? And how
Right.
much weightage is given to the sports career
Right.
according to
I
you?
would, I would let Nicholas to answer because they have a lot of interesting scholarship, and then I'll follow his answer.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
So we do offer a tremendous amount of scholarships. We have academic merit scholarships. We have admissions grants. We have international center grants. We have travel reimbursements. So you have to fly to the U.S. We deduct whatever money your travel costs, up to $1,500, off of your tuition. We also offer free dormitories for all of our international students. Um,
Okay.
and these are nice dormitories with all the other students. It's not like they're separate. So we offer a tremendous amount of scholarships to international students, better than domestic students. We also have jobs on campus. I've got 3 international student workers that work for me, um, and it's fantastic. So we do offer a tremendous amount of support. And then what was the second part of your question?
Okay.
Right. So
Uh,
I just add few things again because I'm the person who talks more of optimistic point of view, and if you see the opportunity and optimism in every aspect of your life, you always find it. So
okay.
I see that this is a good opportunity for the students to save a lot of money, which otherwise is not possible. Like
Okay.
Springfield College offering free accommodation, a dormitory accommodation, and
Okay.
offering reimbursement of your ticket amount. And this is not heard before. This would not be
I
there
know. I know.
afterwards.
Yes.
So this is
Okay.
an opportunity to take it. Likewise, again, to open up the answer for other programs and the other countries, learning from your question, yes, there are plenty of opportunities for the students coming from different background to identify the scholarship.
Okay.
Not everybody would be suitable for US. Not everybody would be suitable for Springfield College, right?
Right.
And
Okay.
this is where I come to my first answer that you need to
Okay.
identify what you want to do, and then you
Okay.
marry with what you want to do with the right college and country,
College
and
and
this is
country.
how you make a a reasonably decent decision, to start with.
Okay.
So there are plenty of opportunities of scholarship. It's a case-to-case basis, program-to-program basis, country-to-country basis, and we will be more than happy to sit with the students and help them out whatever best possible way to go ahead.
Okay. Oh, very nice. Very, very happy to hear that you are supporting students so well. And Mr. Sheikh, any challenges you have faced in this course of time of your counseling?
Challenges in the sense, yes, when the student asks that can I fly now or can I join now? So
Okay.
unless the university is open, unless the government lets university to open, or unless the embassy office is open here in India,
Okay.
you may be interested, but you would not seek that opportunity to go. But I would like to connect because Sheetal, you work for the women empowerment and
Okay.
women empowerment in the sense women involvement into the sports, and you did a
Yes.
fantastic job in this area. I would want to say and share a very interesting figure which might help the students and parents to look at the sports again in a different way, and also to
Okay.
your cause and your initiatives which you have been taking for last many months and years. Like if you look at the statistics, and many people get shocked when they get to know that if you see how many females watch
Okay.
sports in
Okay.
India, right?
Okay.
So IPL is being watched by 41% females, the cricket.
Okay.
Then we
Okay.
have Kabaddi, which has been considered as more of a man's game,
Okay.
is been watched by 39% women in our
Oh
country.
wow.
You
Okay.
talk about tennis, it's
Okay.
38%, hockey 35%. So what I mean to
Wow.
say is that there are a lot of opportunities for female candidates. Again, sports sometimes we see it very in a very biased way, you know.
Okay.
So maybe
For
that we
the
need to
young
open
people
up.
and young kids to pursue the future, but
It's
for
an equal
us,
opportunity for male and female. And in India, we have got huge talent. And if this viewership tells me something that
okay.
nearly 35 to 40% of women are watching these games, which we consider a men's game, then something
Okay.
is wrong in the society, or we are not understanding the interest of the students clearly enough.
Okay.
And we'll be more than happy, and that's what, to answer your question, we'll be more than happy as a education company to reach out and to help out not only males but also female students who wants to make a
Okay.
career in this particular field, and also maybe we can do something together, to support your initiatives.
Yes, definitely, definitely. I will look forward for your support and Mr. Win's support both. It is really very nice to talk to you. I have a last question coming up. So can you please answer? How do we work on a growing sports which is not globally recognized?
Um, I can say that at least in terms of Springfield College, again, we had two big sports were developed at Springfield College. That was basketball and volleyball. So the person who invented volleyball was an alumni of Springfield College, and of course, James Naismith was the person did invented it as an assignment for Springfield College. So I guess the question would be, how did either of those sports grow?
Okay.
And it starts small, right? It starts communities, and it's getting other organizations to grow. And it's marketing, it's sports
Okay.
management, right? And it's about being smart about how you do that and how you grow it. Because just like a business, it needs to expand and catch the eye of other people. So marketing and getting involved, connections. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, if I have to add to it, to what Nicholas rightly said, they are the inventors. So it means that they started from zero, and
Okay.
that's where now the sports have taken up the next league, basketball and volleyball. I
Okay.
would also like to say that I think this has never been this easy time for you to promote anything. You know,
Okay.
when we
Very
had no
true. Very
social
true.
media, right, it was
Okay.
very difficult to take your sports and actually play and show them how to play. But now you
Okay.
can watch on mobile, on app, and
Yes.
literally anywhere on your cell phone. You don't require to go and visit the place. I believe this is the
Yes.
best time to promote anything. And if you talk about sports, You just need to be creative in your presentation, add some
Yes.
value to
Okay.
the people who are watching the cricket,
Good one.
provide the entertainment, the zeal, the enthusiasm through the format of the cricket, a format of the
Okay.
game. What like
Yes.
IPL did, brought it down, the longer version of Test cricket or one-day cricket to a 2 hours game.
2020.
So think creatively, and you can and do wonders with any kind of game which you'd like to promote.
So Deepak Kotian, I think you must have got your answer from Mr. Wen and Mr. Sheikh very nicely explained and very profoundly explained. Thank you so much. And any message you want to give to the viewers, please? I'll start
Well,
with Mr. Wen. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Yeah, first I want to say thank you very much. I want to say thank you to all the viewers attending, and I hope you learned something. I would say if you have any interest in learning about more of our programs, we are a very long-lived, very prolific sports institution. I should say we have all programs. We have many programs, right?
Okay.
But if you were going to ask me what we're most famous for, the answer would be sports. Olympians, gold medal, basketball, volleyball. So all I'm saying is if you have any kind of interest in that field, and I think you probably will because you're here, feel free to reach out to me or Mr. Sheikh, and I'd be happy to speak more with you about opportunities. And even if it's just about education in the U.S. in general, it doesn't even need to be about Springfield College. I'm always at your disposal to answer anything you need.
Yes. Thank you so
right.
much. And Mr. Sheikh, please.
Yeah, I would say that for both students and parents, and maybe the sports association or their representatives who are listening to us today, that it's a very upcoming industry in India. We have got huge potential to grow. Parents, let your kids identify their interest, and if their interest matches with what they want to do, if they have a
Yes.
skill, then by all means support them like you would support them for any other traditional program.
Okay.
Support them to go for sports management. There's a lot of fields. I mean, you can come from science background, can join sports. You can come from commerce background, like science
Okay.
students can join sports and health management, or the sports performance upliftment. The commerce students can come and join the sports events, sports and finance. So there are different ways in which you can get into this kind of particular program. So be open with your option. And if you want to have any further discussion, any further information, and want to test yourself, we'll be more than happy to assess you for the best right match for your career.
Okay. So thank you so much. And yes, Mr. Sheikh, I would like to put your link in the description box or in the comment, so the people who wants to get in contact with you can easily definitely get in touch with you and get more guidance about how the career opportunities are there. And yes, for the more and more bright future of the people, they can definitely contact you. And thank you so much, Mr. Win and Mr. Sheikh, for coming over. Thank you. And giving your precious time to Big Bash Sports. And thank you, viewers. Please stay home, stay safe, and wish all the very luck to all of them out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nichols. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.